human beings, but when you spend some time with us in various bar activities, I think you would ask them a question. Pro bono opportunities, another way to work with experienced lawyers and begin practicing. So I can't underscore enough how important it is to get involved in this profession. It is a profession, it's not just a job, and there's a legal community that's ready, waiting, and waiting to welcome you. Now, from the State Bar Committee of Bar Examiners, we have John McNicholas, who's going to certify our admittees.
May it please the court, I am here today on behalf of the Committee of Bar Examiners to present these candidates for admission to practice law in California. Title IV, Division I of the Rules of the State Bar of California, otherwise California Business and Professions Code, require that these admission candidates maintain certain pre-legal requirements.
Read the roll and call each of your names. So I know a lot of you are standing in the back. To the extent that it's possible, why don't we come up the aisle so everybody can see? Okay, last call. Any cards that we do not, that have not been submitted? Nobody has any cards? Okay, Justice Feibel. This is the hardest job, calling law.
Thank you, Justice O'Leary. Good morning and congratulations to everyone. When I call your name, please stand and remain standing until the oath is administered. Yes, Abaquin, University of California, Davis. Sheila Abdul Shattar, Duke University School of Law. Deanna M. Adams, Hofstra University School of Law. Max M. Alehu, University of Houston. Jan L. Alode, or Lodi, Hofstra University School of Law. Trevor John Allen, University of Arizona, James E. Rogers College of Law. Nathan P. Bettenhausen, Loyola Law School. Christine Marie Bellew, Emory University. Jonathan J. Bustani, Columbia University. Sean Michael Bothwell, Vermont Law School. Jessica L. Bruder, University of San Diego. Samuel Gary Brooks, Brigham Young University. Allison Gail Brown, Vanderbilt University Law School. Patrick Kevin Russo, University of Minnesota Law School. Courtney Dawn Brewer, Whittier College of Law. Kristen Mackenzie Calder, Whittier Law School. Aminata N. Camara, Webster State College of Law. No, that's wrong. Western State College of Law. There's a reason why I mispronounced it. I'll leave that to her. Jeremy J. Carney, University of Illinois. Karen Marie Cassidy, the George Washington University. Numeriano C. Catalan Jr., Southern California Institute of Law. Carissa Mahar, Michigan State University. Farida Chahata, Pepperdine Law School. Chang Chen Cheng, University of New Hampshire School of Law. Pauline Chow, University of Wisconsin. Catherine A. Christensen, Brigham Young University. Sarah Compton, University of San Diego. Thomas Brendan Connors, Laverne College of Law. Marcia E. Cook, Golden Gate University. Michael H. Cooper, the Thomas N. Cooley Law School in Lansing, Michigan. Bao Tran Pham Dang, UC Hastings. Violeta Delgado, University of California, Hastings. Tyler Benjamin Dawkins, Suffolk University Law School. Marissa Dugan, California Western. Craig Tyler Dunlap, Whittier College of Law. Erin Nicole Empting, Thomas Jefferson School of Law. Ryan David Freeman, St. John's University School of Law in Queens, New York. Richard Calder Galati, Brigham Young University. Sarah J. Golden, Western State University. Joseph Michael Groff, Pepperdine University. Sarah Melissa Gubler, Brigham Young University, J. Reuben Clark Law School. Stephen Ray Guess, UC Hastings. Brandon Thomas Hale, University of the Pacific, the George School of Law. Bahar Hamza Zadeh, University of California, Hastings. Stephanie Renee Hartung, the George Law School. Damian James Howard, Northwestern University. Aaron C. Humes, Georgetown University Law Center. Jonathan Matthew Hurst, UCLA School of Law. Judge Guilford and I would like to give a little drum roll for UCLA. Wendy Sue, University of Denver, Stern College. Samaya Ann Joffrey, California Western School of Law. Scott Daniel Juber, Chapman University School of Law. Henry Kane, Thomas Jefferson School of Law. I must say, you have to work on your handwriting, some of you folks. Man. I'm sorry ahead of time. K. Katanjian, Western State University. Syed Masay Kazaruni, Southwestern Law School. Cassie H. Kempner, University of California, Davis. Sabah Kiradpur, Columbia University. J. King. Robert Q., University of Akron School of Law. Jennifer Kim, both home. I knew that was going to happen. Richard Kim, University of San Diego. Vivian Kim, University of California, Berkeley. Philip Christopher Kleen, UC Davis. Jennifer Stoddard Karan, University of Denver. Vanessa Christina Crumbean, Boston College Law School. Suneet Kumar, John Marshall Law School in Chicago. Joshua Coons, UC Berkeley, Gold Halls. Therese Elena Lobsher, Chapman University School of Law. Donald Y. Lee, Syracuse University. Andrew Lim, George Washington University. Ryan Patrick McKecker, Western State University. Paul Theodore Main, University of California, Berkeley. Robin Jennifer Milan, Michigan State University. David Max Marcus, New York University School of Law. Natalie Berzayan, California Western School of Law. Rahman F. Mohammadi, University of San Diego. Kelly Jean Morris, Concord Law School.
USC undergrad, go Trojans.
Fight on.
You should have like music or something.
Have it on my phone.
Marching bands, yeah. Allison R.S. Murdoch, University of San Diego. Patrick D. Murphy, California Western School of Law. Blake D. McKay, University of Miami, in Coral Gables, Florida. Jennifer E. McNabb, Whittier Law School. Melissa Joanne Nadal, New York University School of Law. Amy K. Wynn, Boston University. Han T. Wynn, Suffolk University. Julie Wynn. Doesn't say from where. Thomas O'Connor, William and Mary. Cynthia Fan, University of Florida. Valerie Lee Passian, University of California, Los Angeles. Stephen Jeremiah Pierce, University of California, Hastings. Fong L. Pham, Thomas Jefferson School of Law. Brian J. Polinsky, UCLA School of Law. Timothy J. Pollard, Whittier College School of Law. Delwyn Sue Orr, Chapman University. Mary Kwok, UC Davis. Mahima Raghav, Southwestern Law School. Brandon Rainey, University of Notre Dame Law School, former expert, so congratulations, Brandon. Nicole Rossi, Vanderbilt School of Law. Teresa Rava, Loyola Law School. Jeffrey Brian Rill, University of San Diego. Michael Rome, University of California, Berkeley Law School. I should mention on a personal note for the judges up here, this is very unusual for us because usually we make half the people happy and half the people sad. And today we make everybody happy. Different and good feeling. Haley Felice Rosen, University of San Diego. Brandon Scott Sand, Thomas Jefferson School of Law. Abigail Cerna, University of Denver. Furhan Shah, Southwestern Law School. I couldn't agree more. Benjamin K. Sheldon Tarzinski, UC Hastings College of Law. Ryan Warren Smith, University of California, Los Angeles. Jennifer Lee Seeger, New York Law School. Ranjiv Sandhi, New England School of Law in Boston. Andrew Garrett Strickland, Emory University School of Law. Virginia Alice Siviu, University of Richmond. Chelsea Kamala Swift Taylor, University Pacific with George. Catherine R. Stevens, University of Denver, Strong College of Law. Alejandro David Schwartz-Chin, the George Washington University. Schwab Tarvildaran, University of San Diego School of Law. Arnel Tan, Ateneo de Manila University in the Philippines. Ali V. Tarani, UCLA School of Law. Aaron Sean Thompson, Georgetown University Law Center. Jason Thompson, University of Laverne College of Law. Stephen Tonelli, University of California, Los Angeles. Priscilla Tomeska, University of Denver College of Law. Andrew John Ulwelling, and again, there's no entry there. Corey James Underwood, Western State University College of Law. Gagan Grover Nadiswaran, University of Tennessee. Jaya Verma, University of West Los Angeles. Michelle Vo, Loyola Law School. Ilya Vo, Western State College of Law. Peter Vu, Pepperdine. Kyle Waldy, Indiana University. Song Fong Tommy Wang, University of Miami. Cameron Westcott, Boston University. Kurt Wiley, UCLA School of Law. Paula Wilson, Pacific Coast University. Susan Wine, University of Notre Dame Law School. Robert William Wynn, Brigham Young University. Jeffrey Todd Woodward, Hofstra University. June Wu, University of Kentucky College of Law. Jessica S. Yee, University of San Diego. And Ryan N. Vander Nald, Southwestern Law School. Now, we forgot anybody. The system worked perfectly, and I'd like to welcome back Justice O'Leary.
Reading the roll is the hardest job that any of us do. I'm now going to administer the state oath for the attorneys. It's a pretty simple oath, and you're just going to repeat after me. There's only two tricky parts. The first, when I say I state your name, don't repeat state your name, say your name. And then you can either swear or affirm. That's your election, okay? So if you could raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm. Do solemnly swear or affirm. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of California. And I will faithfully discharge. The duties of an attorney. And counselor at law. To the best of my knowledge and ability. Congratulations. Now remain standing. Because I'm going to call on our colleague from the federal court, United States District Judge Andrew J. Guilford, also a former state bar president, to administer the federal oath.
All right, thank you very much. It's a very brief oath. I'm the only thing standing between you and the eloquent words we're going to hear from Justice Bedsworth, which are always enlightening and entertaining, and your party. So we'll get right to it, but not too quick, because it is an oath. And I want to emphasize it's an oath. We judges think oaths are important. We take oaths in our court. So I want you to listen carefully to the words of this oath. It is in stately, archaic language, which is suitable for the occasion, but I'd urge you to be a better user of plain English when you're actually writing things to my court. But in the stately, archaic language, there are a few words that actually cause people to giggle. So I want you to listen carefully and see if you giggle and see if you understand why we say it the way we say it. In this oath, you will also be promising to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the United States is the greatest achievement of humans in the last 1,000 years. You as lawyers in our society are assigned the responsibility to uphold that Constitution. So listen carefully to the words. Realize that at the end it's an oath, and during your career, do your best to live up to the oath you're about to say. Like Justice O'Leary said, you will state your name when I tell you to state your name, please. So here we go. I state your name. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm. Do solemnly swear or affirm. That I will support and defend. That I will support and defend. The Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the United States. That I will bear true faith and allegiance. That I will bear true faith and allegiance. To the government of the United States. To the government of the United States. That I will maintain the respect. That I will maintain the respect. Due to the courts of justice. Due to the courts of justice. And judicial officers. And judicial officers. And that I will demean myself as an attorney. And that I will demean myself as an attorney. Proctor, advocate. Proctor, advocate. Solicitor and counselor of this court. Solicitor and counselor of this court. Uprightly. Uprightly. According to law. According to law. So help me God. So help me God. Congratulations. Welcome to the federal court.
With any luck, when you make your court appearances, you'll never have to stand that long. At least not in state court. We'll let you sit down. The fall admission ceremony, I think is always a little more worrying, but I actually think it has more to do with football. Each year when we do this ceremony in the fall, there is, and I have to say, Justice Rayapol is not with us here today. He usually is with us, and he's a Michigan fan, so for Justice Rayapol, if he was here, he would have said, "Go Blue." I went to a Catholic school. We weren't into football, so I don't take any allegiances. Justice Bedsworth is a Cal graduate, so we go Bears. For those of you that enter practice, you will want to get to know all your associates. You want to get to know the partners. Very important, find out who their football team is, because you don't want to make enemies your first week in the office. As I said, this is a very there's cause to celebrate today, and we've tried to make it light and welcoming for all of you, to let you know that this is a great profession, that you will not only work hard, you'll get a chance to play hard, you'll make some good friends, lifelong friends in the practice of law. But then we like to end on a high note, and we end on a high note with my colleague Justice William Bedsworth, who will probably amuse you a little, but he always inspires you, and I know he will have some very meaningful words for you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Congratulations. In the immortal words of the great novelist Kurt Vonnegut Jr., welcome to the Monkey House. It is my great privilege to be the first monkey to speak to you in your new capacity as state-credentialed, fully certified monkeys. I know you would rather leave right now, go somewhere to celebrate your monkeyhood, but I've been asked to spend a few minutes talking to you about the next 40 years of your life. If you'll just bear with me for these few minutes, you can party till the keeper comes back after. The California Supreme Court sits in the Earl Warren Building at 350 McAllister Street. Everyone knows who the Supreme Court's building is named after, but you probably don't know who has the bigger honor. You probably don't know who the street is named after. To learn that, you have to walk a short distance to 200 McAllister Street, to Hastings College of Law. In front of Hastings College of Law, you'll find a statue of Hal McAllister, the man the street was named after. And at the foot of the statue are these words: learned, able, eloquent, leader of the California bar, fearless advocate, a courteous foe. All I have to say to you today is summed up in the 13 words at the foot of that statue. Learned, able, eloquent. Those are things you will never be. At least not to yourself. You will never think yourself learned enough, able enough, or eloquent enough. Accept that fact. Work as hard as you can, and you will be as learned, able, and eloquent as you need to be to represent your client well. But you will never be as learned, able, and eloquent as you want to be. The best lawyers are not the most glib, or the most clever, or even the smartest. They're the ones who care the most and work the hardest. If you apply yourself to those requirements, you will, at the end of your career, be remembered as learned, able, and eloquent. Leader of the California bar, you will be that whenever you choose to be. Leadership is something you earn, not something you get elected to. If you show your peers that you will not tolerate anything but the highest ethical standards, and if you live up to them yourself, you will set the right example, and others will follow. And you owe it to yourself and to your profession to set the right example. Fearless advocate. There is simply no such thing. Not literally. No one actually literally advocates without fear. We have a federal judge in this county named David O. Carter. David Carter was a certified war hero. He was the last officer airlifted out of Quezon. When he got back to the States, he was in the hospital for a year and a half while they pieced him back together again. If there's anyone who you would expect to be able to advocate without fear, it would be David Carter. And I will tell you that he once sat across the lunch table from me and said, Billy, if someone came up to me in that moment when the jury is filing into the courtroom and said, Dave, you don't have to try this case. You can go back to the office and I'll try it for you. I never would have tried a case in my life. Because at that moment, boy, I know fear every time I do it. And this is a man who made a living trying homicide cases. A fearless advocate is not one who advocates his position without fear, but one who does so without regard to the fear he or she feels, without regard to that churning in your stomach and that horrible voice in the back of your mind that keeps saying, you've got this all wrong, and tomorrow in court you're going to make a complete fool of yourself. Everybody's been there. Everybody's been terrified to go into court or present that memo or talk to the senior partner. It gets better, but it never goes away. You don't want it to go away. It's your friend. It's what keeps you working hard. Get used to it. It will make you work harder, and therefore it will make you a better lawyer. finally, courteous foe. This is what gets statues sculpted of you and streets named after you. And it's what I want to leave you with today. If you get nothing else out of what I have to say, which is distinctly likely, get this. You are going into a profession rife with discourtesy, awash in unkindness, one in which fairness and civility are too often confused with weakness, one in which many of your fellow practitioners will try to cover up their lack of knowledge or diligence by affecting cynicism. Do not make that mistake. If you are cynical about the law, if you begin to see it as a means to self-enrichment rather than as a means to fairness and equity, you will find yourself in the HOV lane to hell. Not religious hell, although I don't doubt cynicism will grease the skids on that trip as well. But living hell, the kind of hell where you judge yourself strictly on results, the kind of hell where if you're not winning, you think you're failing. You know why that doesn't work? Do the logic thing with me for a minute. How many of your clients, how many of the people you represent are going to be right? All of them? If you believe all of your clients are going to be right, you believe in Perry Mason and Ally McBeal and the Great Pumpkin, and you're going to spend the next 40 years getting your butt kicked. Unless you limit your practice to securities violations by Buddhist nuns, not all of your clients are going to be right. So how many are? 3/4 of them? Maybe. Maybe if you represent only charitable trusts and orphans, you'll get 75%. Otherwise, no, not 75%. Half, folks. You're going to get half. If you're really lucky and you don't practice criminal law, family law, or banking law, maybe half of your clients will be in the right. The other half will be wrong. And it will be your duty to see that they get fair treatment for their wrongness. That is your duty as a lawyer, to protect your client from unfairness, not to perpetrate it. If you allow yourself the cynical view that you are practicing law to make yourself or your clients rich, you will put yourself in a position where you are failing unless you win for people who should lose. Does that make any sense at all to you? You're smart people. You studied law for 3 or 4 years. Are you stupid enough to think it's a good deal to set a goal of winning for people who should lose? Have you ever, in all the time you've been studying law, said to yourself, I want to understand this area of the law really well so that someday I can confuse a judge or jury into rewarding bad conduct? Is that why you went to law school? I'm betting it's not. Our society is betting it's not. That's why we just told you you can go out and practice law. Because the state of California is willing to bet that you are smart enough to know that your life is too important to be wasted grubbing for money. We're betting that you went to law school because you realize there is no profession which can offer you as much opportunity as the law to do good and make life better for a lot of people. And you know who else is making that bet? Your families, your loved ones. Look around you here. There are lots of proud parents and proud spouses and proud children. You think they're proud because they think you're going to make a lot of money and drive a Lexus? No. They're proud of you because they know you worked hard and succeeded. And now they think you're going to make life better, fairer, more honest, more just. They think you're going to fight against prejudice and unfairness. They think you're going to treat people with kindness and honesty. They think you're going to make the world what it ought to be. Do not let them down by giving all that up to chase the almighty dollar. You can practice law as an ethical and honest advocate, or you can practice it as a hired gun. If you choose to practice it honestly and ethically, you will sleep well at night, your friends will respect you, your peers will respect you, you will win a lot of cases, and you will win a lot of friends. You will end up like the people on this dais and the people who spoke to you today, pleased with your life in the law, satisfied that you've done the right thing. Trust me, you will end up without regrets. If you choose to practice it as a hired gun, you will reap none of those rewards, and you will spend your days looking over your shoulder, wondering when the day will come, which comes to all hired guns, the day when you come up against somebody faster, tougher, and meaner. You'll spend it wondering whether your loved ones are admiring your Lexus or lamenting the things you've done, the person you've become to get it. I don't know about your family. Let me tell you about mine. My dad was a casket maker. Fanciest car he ever owned was a 3-year-old Ford, which sat every night in the one-car garage behind our 900-square-foot house in an area that would be today known as a high-crime area. But in all the years I practiced law, I never met a better man. He had an unerring moral compass, and he was singularly unimpressed by material goods. I found I could test my legal arguments by asking myself if I could make them to my father and look him in the eye. After a while, I found the same test worked for most of my life's decisions. Could I tell my dad I did this without being embarrassed? If I couldn't, I was doing the wrong thing. And the biggest mistakes I've made in life came when I tried to find a way around that question. The people here with you today will know. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 40 years from now, they'll know whether you did the right thing or sold out. Practice law so you can look them in the eye and tell them proudly about everything you've done. It may not get you a statue on McAllister Street. It may not get you a 3-car garage, but it will get you proud parents and proud children. It will make your life good, and it will make the world better. That's what you went to law school for. That's what you worked so hard for. And today, it's within your reach. Today, as a counselor at law, licensed by the state of California, you have more power to do good and less excuse not to than you have ever had. Don't let anybody talk you out of that. You made this dream come true. Now go out and make others come true. Congratulations, Counselor.
Ceremony, there's lots of applause for lots of people. But it occurred to me today that there is a group of people that traditionally we never give any applause to, and actually they do the heavy lifting for these ceremonies. They get the judges here with our oaths and our robes and our notes, and that is the clerks from the 4th District Court of Appeal from our court. I'd like to give them a round of applause. We were reminiscing today before we came out about our own admission ceremonies that took place anywhere between 35 and 40 years ago. I know we all started again at 12 or 13, but we still remember what an exciting day it was, and we loved being lawyers, and we were lawyers in different kinds of different areas of the profession. Judge Guilford and Justice Feigl were business litigators in large firms. Justice Bedsworth was a district attorney, and I was a public defender. So we had different kinds of practice, but one thing that we all agree on is we love being lawyers, we love being judges, we really love being part of this profession, and I think that's pretty remarkable after the many, many years we've been in the profession. So I want to congratulate all of you, and I hope that 35 or 40 years from now, you'll have the same fond memories and the same warm feeling about being a lawyer as we do today. So congratulations, and we're adjourned.